My very first day in sales, my manager gave me a very crucial piece of advice. He said, Jeff, you need to start every day with a plan and a sense of urgency. And that message has stuck with me to this day. We're going on 15 years, and it'll stick with me for another 15 years. But that's also not the best piece of advice he gave me that day. He also said, Jeff, in those moments where you're distracted, when you're a little bit indecisive about what you should be doing, ask yourself, is what I'm doing right now going to help me grow my business? Now, that's a much more difficult piece of advice to follow. It's a much more difficult piece of advice to be disciplined enough to maintain. But I'm going to ask you that right now. Is what you're doing at this moment going to help you grow your business? And I'm going to add something to it. Is this the moment you should be doing it? Now, look, I was given this advice in 2004. It's a long time ago. It was before Twitter. It's before LinkedIn really made any kind of a splash. Facebook was, if it was around at the time, it was not something that I was aware of. I might be getting my dates for when these social media channels first started popping up, but it doesn't matter because there's another one coming right behind it. You can list your particular digital vice here. Fill in the blank, however you want to do it. This was before most of that. And my point is that the advice was powerful then, and it's even more powerful now because of all the distractions that we have. This was definitely pre-iPhone. So even if those things existed, they existed in a laptop where Wi-Fi wasn't available all the time. You carry the World Wide Web with you in your pocket, which means you carry a landmine or a series of landmines in your pocket with you for distraction, for interruption, and for all of those things that are keeping you away from doing your best work. So I'd like to believe that you found this piece of content, you found this video, and you chose to watch this far along. What are we, 2.5 minutes into the video? You're choosing to follow along this long because you feel like this is valuable. You feel that I can challenge you to be better. I can challenge you to grow yourself. I can challenge you to grow your business. And I'm flattered and I appreciate that opportunity. But is this really the most important thing you can do right now? If you found me on Twitter, is it in the middle of your day when you know you should actually be calling prospects or working on your next steps in the series of your sales process with the prospects that you already have in your pipeline? I mean, you could watch this video anytime. And I'm not done yet, but I can tell you it's going to wrap up between 4 and 5 minutes of total length. Do these 4 or 5 minutes need to be spent when you're spending them? So here's my challenge to you. Ask yourself at any point in time in the day, is what I'm doing right now going to help me grow my business? And is this the right time to do it? Now, here's your strategy. If you can't answer yes to both of those questions at the same time, well, then you need to do something about that. Either you need to change the content you're consuming at the time you're consuming it, or you need to change the time you consume that content. So block time. Block some time in the evening. Block some time in the early morning. Block some time when it doesn't make sense for you to be doing something more important. I'm not even going to tell you to get off social media. That's too big of a chunk for you to bite off right now. But I am going to tell you that there is a time and place for it. That there are tools at your disposal that can limit your exposure to those channels that distract you. And don't tell yourself, don't believe the narrative that I need to be on Twitter all the time in order to do this, or I need to respond in such and such a time, otherwise someone's going to be upset. Listen, you train your customers. What are you training them to do? How are you training them to anticipate your response? How are you training them to interact with you? You have a lot more control and a lot more influence over the relationship with your customers than you may think. And if you don't, then it's not a very good relationship. That's a video for another day. But I want you to ask these questions. Ask these questions of yourself. I want you to answer them too. Is what I'm doing right now helping me grow my business? And is now the right time to be doing it? If you can't answer yes to both of those questions, then shut this video off and go do what you know to be most important. If you have any questions, if you want to talk about this a little bit more, you want to argue with me a little bit, please send me an email, jb@jeffbajorek.com. You can find me on Google by just Googling my name, Jeff Bajorek, and you will find a lot of other stuff that I have to help you with. But do it at the right time.